Don't be fooled by the gold and silver price today, because there is some breaking data that is coming out in the market that is showing us that this is not even reflecting the trueness of what is happening out there, because we have some big updates to talk about the Chinese yuan. We're also going to be talking about the physical gold in China and also the physical silver in China. And at the end of the video, we will be talking about the long-term silver and gold prices. And also, is there even gold at Fort Knox? Because Trump did make a statement previously that he wanted to go down to Fort Knox to check on the gold with Elon Musk. And we're going to talk about that question in today's video with some secret alpha at the end. So if you want to know what's been happening, if there's been an audit of this, stick around to the end of the video. We'll talk about that very important question at the end. And let's get straight into it. So at the moment, the silver price, it's looking strong. So even though this is the paper price, I want to tell you guys, it's looking incredibly strong. So it's sitting at about $80 paper right now. We did get that bounce down right here previously on about the 5th and 6th of February, where it did go down to about 63 bucks. Nice little bargain right here. But there are so many fundamentals that are looking strong for this that I'm super relaxed right now. So silver looking strong, gold looking strong. So 5,000 is potentially becoming the new normal for gold. So get used to that. The FUDers are in disbelief right now. So $5,000 gold. And again, this is coming off some discounted levels previously, and we had updates on those days where I said, what am I doing? I'm stacking, I'm buying, I'm holding. And that's exactly what I've been doing, because again, we have the perfect storm brewing in the background for the market right now. If we take a look at this, Trump does have some big plans to grow the economy. Let's play this, and I'll give you guys my take on this.
And they say 3% growth. Oh, this is great. GDP. 3% GDP. 2.5%. They're very happy. 2.5%. 2%. 1%. They're happy with anything. We should grow 15 or 20%.
I like Trump's optimism right here. I think that would be good for the US economy, obviously. But, you know, doing real 15%, real 20%, and it's just not AI mumbo jumbo stocks growing, and it's just not like government expenditure growing. That's the big question on a lot of people's minds out there. So, for example, in Australia, there's some crazy statistics out there that the economy is mostly only growing because of the government, and the government has all these like scam programs, scam projects, and that's where the growth is coming from. So I think if Trump can actually build and grow a real economy, I think that'd be great for the USA, but we'll see what happens. I do like the optimism right there. What's interesting, you have to have on the radar right now, Chinese yuan is rising. So it's the highest levels against the US dollar since May 2023. Now, if we bring up this price chart right here, you can see something interesting playing out. That is a very strong decrease in the DXY, which is the demand for US dollars against, you know, other things out there in the market. And it's actually at a very low level. So if this drops down again, you know, you could potentially see a decent crash in the US dollar. So if we zoom out quite a while, you know, it hasn't been this low since, what is this, February 2022. But again, it's got down to 90 previously. And this is a thing that can potentially really drop depending on just how much money printing there is, how the other economies are going out there. And it's just something to have on the radar because, again, the strength of China, the Chinese yuan, it is appreciating. And they have recently come out. We spoke about this in yesterday's video, but the Chinese have come out telling their banks to limit the purchase of US treasuries and instructed those with high exposure to pare down positions. Okay, so they're selling US treasuries. They're exiting out of this. And this could also be in the backdrop of a potential conflict that might come in the next few years between China and the USA. Who's actually going to rule the world? Because it has been the USA ever since World War II. But, you know, we're going through this phase of geopolitical tensions with Taiwan. You know, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what plays out right there. And also at the same time, Trump is loading up on aircraft carriers to the Middle East. He's potentially sending more. And China has come out with a warning against using military forces in Iran. And why would China be doing that? And the reason is, look, Iran has heaps of natural resources. They're a big trading partner of China. And if Trump and the US do, you know, effectively like Venezuela, Iran, which is honestly, it's a very hard thing to do because it's so far away on the map. And if we just bring up the map right here, you can see China and Iran are a lot closer together than obviously the US and Iran are. And the reason, China doesn't want that because, Iran's a big trading partner with China, right? So if China loses Iran, it's going to lose a lot of access to good trading materials, right? That's going to go into, the US and its allies' domain. Iran will fall under, the US and its allies, and, trade will reverse. And that's what China doesn't want. So at the moment, we're at very, very heightened geopolitical tensions. And you know what's happening in the background? Why does this even tie into gold and silver? Because have a look at what's happening in China and Shanghai. Gold inventories at the Shanghai Future Exchange's vaults are skyrocketing. It's up to record levels. Warehouse warrants represent physical gold stored in approval exchange vaults that can be held, transferred, or used as collateral. It's risen 500%. And, what we are seeing is this is unprecedented levels of physical gold demand that hasn't been seen. Physical gold demand in China is exploding. So this is what the real physical is doing in China. They're buying it, right? Why are they buying it? It's because this is the year of volatility, right? 2026, 2027. This is the years potentially where the world starts to spiral pretty hard. And it's spiraling. Just remember, it's not on just the country versus country front. It's also within countries. So if you just watch just the tensions, especially in the USA, especially in countries like Australia, the UK, people are not happy. So just remember that they're not happy, and you're seeing it play out within actual countries right there. And what's happening is this is perfect for gold. And have a look at this as well for silver, because there has been such a tightening of silver. The physical silver market has rarely been this tight. So we're seeing huge discrepancies between demand and supply for silver. And again, this is bullish for us for the long term right here. And again, we are seeing more and more tensions move into the Middle East. We're seeing, Trump potentially set up more assets. And I do think, look, I think eventually something's going to happen here, because they've just moved so many assets, if you've been following what we've been talking about, into the Middle East. And this is a costly exercise to move all these aircraft carriers, all these defense weapons, all this stuff over here in the Middle East. So I think eventually something will happen. I don't think they're going to let this opportunity pass. And I think Iran, there will be some type of military conflict with Iran. It's just a matter of when. But you can see the latest update right here with Patriot surface-to-air missile batteries ready to go, basically, right there. Now, let's talk about this, because this was interesting, and we'll talk about how this ties into silver and gold. So let's listen into this. It's not what you think.
We're also going to Fort Knox. I'm going to go with Elon. And would anybody like to join us? Because we want to see if the gold is still there. We want to see.
So Trump, back in 2025, he put out this big statement at CPAC, and he said he wanted to go check if there was gold at Fort Knox, which is this building right here. And the last audit was actually done in 1953. There was a show audit in 1974. And, did we get an update? Because that speech from Trump was actually all the way back. This happened back in 2025 February. So basically, a year ago, he made that statement. And let's see what the update is from here. And then we'll also talk about, why this might not just be a straightforward case. So I asked Grok, I said, did Trump audit Fort Knox? No, Donald Trump did not conduct an audit of Fort Knox during either of his presidential terms. During his first term, then Treasury Steven Mnuchin visited the U.S. bullion depository at Fort Knox in 2017. However, he did a visual audit. He said there was security there, which obviously there should be. And the Treasury Department has long maintained that internal audits occur annually, though results are not publicly disclosed, and no full public audit has been reported since 1974. And even though Trump did make that statement that we just listened to, he wanted to audit with Elon Musk, nothing's actually happened right here. So this followed calls from figures like Senator Rand Paul and online speculation. However, Trump had a change of heart and dropped the plan with no further action reported. And then a Republican-backed bill tried to force an audit within 5 years. But guess what? That bill has had no progress. And basically, there is a huge black hole over this. There's a huge question mark over why this hasn't even been audited. So it's a bit of a mystery why this hasn't been audited. And I think one of the most common things is just simply think through it, right? So they would audit it if the gold was actually there, because it wouldn't actually take that long. It would actually kill the speculation. It would, it would solve the conspiracy around it. But the fact that they refused to do it, and the fact that they refused to pass legislation to actually look into it, doesn't look good for that gold actually being there. So where has the government gold gone? And this, again, if you think about the big picture right here, this is even more bullish for gold and silver that you actually own, that you can actually put in your own little vault and you can keep yourself, is because you don't have to trust, the government. So potentially the gold that is owned by the USA, or supposedly owned, maybe it's not there, right? So that is something important to have a consideration about. And also some secret alpha for you tuning into the end of this video. Comment down below if you've actually watched this video that I've got right here. It's not a video, actually, it's a documentary. It's called The Money Masters. It was made back in 1996. And I want to say, even though this looks super scrappy, even though this looks like it is like a made on a tape recorder or whatever it is back in the day, I've watched this. It's highly interesting. Guys, let me know in the comment section below if you think it's interesting as well, because they do actually talk about the Fort Knox issue in there, but they also talk about the whole history of money and banking in the USA. And it's surprising. Look, if you haven't had a look into it, it's worth having a look if you got some spare time. So it's not a quick video. It's not an economic Zeus, 10-minute, 15-minute video. It's a 3-hour video documentary by Bill Still. I don't agree with everything he says, but I do say it is intriguing. It is enlightening, and it's potentially worth taking a look at if you got some time and you're interested in learning about the banking system and how it all works and some of the history behind it. And I will say, look, gold and silver looking good, even though I think there's suppression in the paper prices right now. I think long term it's looking extremely solid right now, and have it on the radar as these years of volatility flow through. But that's a major update for today. Really appreciate you tuning into this one. Go have a great rest of the day. Economic Zeus signing out.